On an isolated island off the coast of Scotland, Michael lives alone with his dog. Once a week, Jessie and her uncle bring him supplies, however Michael always avoids them. One day when Jessie leaves the crate at the house, she also leaves a small gift. After the boat is gone, Michael grabs the crate and abandons the gift on the floor. He spends the rest of the day drinking and playing chess against himself. The following week, Jessie breaks the rules by knocking on his door. Michael scolds her as he grabs the new crate and tries to close the door, but Jessie stops it with her foot and offers the gift again. She asks him why he never greets them, but instead of answering, Michael moves her foot and closes the door. Jessie yells that she isn't afraid of him before leaving. The gift is left on the doorstep again. On the boat, the uncle hears alerts of a strong storm coming. The sky is already becoming dark and the waves are getting violent. After some struggle, Jessie manages to get on her boat and starts rowing, but the waves soon take her oars and push her into the water. Her uncle wants to help her, however the waves are pushing down his boat as well. On the island, the dog whines while looking out the window, causing Michael to finally notice what's happening. As he runs out of the house, he accidentally kicks the gift. Michael gets on his boat and slides down a platform to reach the water, turning on the engine to move as fast as possible. Jessie has managed to resurface, but her legs are stuck in a net so she can't swim. The waves push her underwater again and she falls unconscious. Then Michael jumps into the water and untangles the net to finally free Jessie. He wants to rescue her uncle as well, but unfortunately he drowned after the waves trapped him in his boat. Michael brings Jessie to his own boat and starts doing CPR until she's breathing again. In the evening, Jessie wakes up on Michael's bed. She asks for her uncle, so Michael has to tell her what happened, causing her to cry. Jessie doesn't leave the bed for the rest of the day and Michael sleeps on the couch. The next morning, Michael takes care of Jessie's ankle, which is swollen and covered in cuts from the net. Jessie asks him why he hasn't called the police and wonders if anyone knows she's there, but Michael only tells her to rest. While he gets a drink, Jessie snaps and demands to be taken back to the mainland, saying her family will be looking for her. However, Michael knows she doesn't have a family. Her mother died and she never met her father. After Michael goes outside, Jessie leaves the bed and desperately searches his desk until she finds a knife. She can hear him coming, so she hurries back to the bed and hides the knife under her pillow. That night, Michael is awakened by the noises Jessie is making because of a nightmare. He tries to check on her, but as soon as he touches her arm, she wakes up and threatens him with a knife. Michael tells her it was just a dream and teaches her how to use a knife correctly. As days pass, Michael keeps taking care of Jessie. He carries her to the bathroom, prepares meals, and handles her injuries. Jessie eventually can walk outside and spend some time with the dog, which Michael appreciates. One afternoon, Jessie asks him how he knows her family, so Michael reveals that he and her uncle served together in the Royal Marines. She realizes she doesn't know his name, but Michael refuses to share it. When he tells her that the dog doesn't have a name, Jessie decides to call him Jack. Then Jessie comments on Michael's chess moves, revealing she's a very good player. Michael decides to check on her ankle and notices it's infected, but he refuses to go to a hospital and promises to get what's needed. After Michael leaves on his boat, Jessie looks at his desk and discovers he's made a drawing of her and Jack. When she opens the drawer, she notices that Michael did open the gift after all. It's a snow globe with a lighthouse, like the one on the island. In London, a government committee is chewing out Manafort for illegally using his surveillance program named Thea. This program has tapped into every single phone and camera in the UK to collect and store information. Manafort tries to defend Thea, claiming that it's prevented dozens of attacks and has led to the identification of numerous terrorists. After the hearing, Manafort meets with the Prime Minister to discuss how the fallout of the Thea program is a national embarrassment for the government. The Prime Minister turns off the recording equipment on her desk and proposes a deal. Manafort will be fired in the eyes of the public so the government can pretend to show accountability and his protege Roberta will take over. In return, Manafort will be allowed to hide and run the Thea program in secret. Manafort agrees and the Prime Minister congratulates him on his retirement. In Scotland, Michael goes to the pharmacy and tries to avoid all the cameras while he shops. Then he goes to a clothing store and makes sure to avoid all the cameras again, which means he grabs the closest clothes instead of looking for something fitting. When he leaves, he walks behind some girls taking a selfie. His face is caught on camera and soon the Thea program flags him as a violent terrorist. Manafort's protege Roberta sends an assault team after him. On the island, Michael bandages Jessie's ankle properly and gives her some sweets with the medicine. He also gives her the clothes and surprisingly they fit well. That night, Michael interrupts their dinner when he hears a noise outside. He uses his binoculars to investigate and sees a boat coming to the island. Michael tells Jessie to lock herself up in the bathroom and not to make a single sound until he comes back. She takes a knife before going to the bathroom, and Michael also gets a blade before rushing outside to get things ready. As soldiers get off the boat and begin to approach the house, Michael cuts a rope that throws a huge rock down the hill and activates a net that captures one of the men to drag him underwater. Then Michael turns on very bright lights, blinding the soldiers because they're wearing night vision gear. They immediately take it off and open fire when they see Michael running nearby. Since he manages to run ahead, a soldier decides to chase him up a hill. Michael surprises him from behind by breaking a lantern on the man's head before shooting him with a flare to set him on fire. Soon another soldier makes it to the hill, so Michael throws a rock to create a distraction. Then he stabs the guy and throws him into the ocean. Meanwhile, another soldier bursts into the house and Jack immediately attacks him. After some struggle, the soldier shoots Jack to kill him. Then the man kicks the bathroom door open and easily disarms Jessie before capturing her and taking her away. In the garage, a soldier searches for Michael, who activates another trap that impales the man with a hook. He ties the rope to leave the guy hanging and hides. Soon another soldier arrives and Michael jumps on him to disarm him before fighting him hand to hand. He manages to stab the soldier a couple of times, yet the man keeps on fighting. Michael hits him with an oar to bring him down, then he pushes the oar against his neck to kill him. At that moment Michael hears Jessie's screams. He grabs the dead soldier's gun and opens fire, hitting the kidnapper in the legs to make him fall. With Jessie no longer in the way, Michael shoots the last soldier to death. A closer look reveals that the soldier had been recording, so Michael takes his equipment and tells Jessie to wait for a moment. Then he enters the house and discovers that Jack is dead, so he apologizes to his old companion before grabbing his phone. He calls a mysterious friend to tell him he's on his way with baggage, and after the conversation is done he removes the battery from the phone. Next, Michael and Jessie get on the soldier's boat and leave the island. Soon Roberta realizes her soldiers have been defeated, so she sends out a special agent and tells her team to find out who Jessie is. In the morning, Jessie and Michael make it to Scotland and Jessie notices that Michael is bleeding, but he assures her he's fine. They sneak around town until they find a vehicle they could use, but they'll need the keys. Michael teaches Jessie how to use a gun and asks her to keep guard while he breaks into a house. Inside, Michael searches for the car keys, only to be seen by a boy. Suddenly the house owner appears at the door and points his gun at Michael, however Jessie surprises him from behind and forces the man to help Michael with his injury. Meanwhile, a technician in Roberta's team has some news. The terrorist profile they saw earlier is fake, it was programmed to pop up whenever a certain face appears on camera. Whoever created this used self-deleting code, but the technician manages to crack it. Now Michael's profile is on the screen and it says he was killed in action. After Robert points out that someone is trying to make them kill their own people, the technician tries to access Michael's mission logs, but the computer says the file doesn't exist. At that moment the computer picks up a 911 call from a boy in Scotland whose father has been captured by a man and a girl. Roberta immediately sends another team out with the agent she called earlier. Meanwhile, Manafort uses his software to keep an eye on everything. He checks the soldiers' recordings and is horrified to discover that Michael is involved. When he hears that Roberta is sending out a certain agent, Manafort contacts the man first, telling him that this is a black kite operation and he must answer only to him. Agent Workman is loyal to Manafort, so he immediately agrees, happy to have him back. Manafort asks him to kill both Michael and Jessie. At the house, the owner finishes patching up Michael's wound. He wants to leave now, but the police suddenly surround the building and the owner's son admits he called them. The officers have orders not to engage, however when the owner rushes to the door he's immediately shot in the head by Workman. Michael stops the boy from following him just in time, but Workman keeps shooting just to destroy all the police cars. Jessie and Michael try to escape through the back door, only to bump into two cops. Michael starts fighting them at the same time and in just a few moves, he manages to knock them both out. A third cop appears when he steps outside, but Michael knocks him out with a simple punch and steals his things. Then the duo gets moving and the rest of the cops also try to stop them, however Michael defeats them all with pepper spray or a taser. The last officer doesn't even try to fight, so Michael takes his keys. The duo steals a police car and Michael accidentally hits the other vehicles on their way out, but at least they finally escape. Seeing all this on the cameras, Roberta tries to call Workman, however he's turned off his communicators. Meanwhile, Workman chases the police car and hits it with his own vehicle, but Michael manages to speed up to move ahead. Workman opens fire, which cracks the windows but doesn't hurt anyone. Then he hits the police car a few more times, causing most of the windows to break. The chase continues through the forest, where Michael makes a sudden turn to hopefully lose the enemy. Unfortunately, Workman catches on quickly and follows them again, hitting them a few more times. When Workman opens fire again, Michael dodges the bullets and starts driving a bit more slowly. Once Workman is at the front, Michael hits his car, causing it to flip over. Michael makes sure to push it off the road before he and Jessie leave. A few miles later, they find a construction site and Michael announces they're switching cars. In the woods, Workman is still alive and starts walking down the road, which is suddenly blocked by a police car and a civilian vehicle. Workman quickly shoots down the officer before forcing the civilian to hand him the car. At the office, Roberta calls Manafort to ask him if he knows Michael. Manafort explains that years ago, he ran an off-book program of elite agents called Black Kites. These agents could act in secret without the government keeping an eye on all their missions. Michael was one of the first agents and a true prodigy. One day he was sent to kill a foreign intelligence officer, but instead he falsified his report and disappeared. Manafort thinks Michael joined the enemy and advises Roberta to use all her power to stop him. Afterward, Roberta makes her technician hack into the Black Kite system. She discovers that Michael helped an Iranian scientist defect after he gave them all the information on their nuclear program. His orders had been to kill him, but Michael refused to ignore the deal. While Roberta keeps reading the files, Manafort keeps spying on her through the security cameras. Sometime later, Jesse asks Michael if he has a family, and he says no. He doesn't want a wife and kids because it'd complicate things. Jesse says she'd rather have a complicated situation if it meant having her mom and uncle back. She then pulls out a drawing of Jack, saying he was Michael's family. Eventually the duo reaches the next town and they keep their heads down to avoid security cameras. Unfortunately, there's a car with a dash cam that captures their faces and soon Manafort knows their location. After editing the footage to make the duo disappear, he sends the coordinates to Workman. The duo enters the local church to meet with Michael's old friend Arthur, who drives them to his house in the middle of the forest. While Jesse finds some curious medicine in the kitchen, Arthur tells Michael that he helped build Thea before he left his government position and he still has a copy of the software. When Michael disappeared, Arthur changed his picture for a random civilian, but Manafort replaced it with the terrorist profile. Michael wants Arthur to take care of Jesse while he goes out to fight, but Arthur says he can't. Jesse interrupts them to reveal that Arthur has cancer, which she knows because he's taking the same medicine her mother took before dying. Thinking Michael wants to get rid of her, Jesse apologizes for being a drag and walks away. After Arthur confirms he only has a few months left to live, Michael asks for the location of an old trafficker they knew. Arthur thinks it's a bad idea because the man is very violent, but Michael says he has no other options. When it's time to leave, they hear someone knocking on the door. Workman is behind it and opens fire, so Michael rushes to hide behind the furniture. When Workman enters the room, Michael pushes the shelves on top of him. The men then start fighting, using all the objects in the room as improvised weapons. In the struggle, a gun falls to the floor. Both men are excellent fighters, but after exchanging a bunch of blows, Workman manages to overpower Michael. When he's about to kill him, Jesse points the gun at him and begs him to stop. Workman jumps on her to disarm her and Michael grabs a nail gun to shoot him a few times before running with Jesse. As Workman opens fire again, the duo reunites with Arthur and they leave together in his car. Workman runs after them with more shots, but it's too late. Manafort texts him to ask if the job is done and Workman says no, so Manafort asks his assistant to get the team ready. When the group reaches a town, Arthur gives Michael a phone and leaves. Michael and Jesse continue to drive alone and Jesse asks Michael to take her with him to his next island. However, Michael refuses because he wants her to have a better life. Meanwhile, Roberta learns from her technician that someone has been using Thea behind their backs, so they prepare a trap. In London, Michael lets the cameras see them on purpose. They go to a nightclub and he beats up the bouncer until he lets them pass. Manafort sees their faces on the camera and tries to get their location, but he's immediately blocked. Now Roberta knows he was the one working behind her back. In the club, Michael and Jesse meet with trafficker Kamal. When Michael asks him to provide safe passage for Jesse with a new identity, Kamal wonders why he should obey. Michael points out that all these years, Kamal has only been able to operate because he ratted his competition out to Manafort. However, Manafort is now working illegally in the shadows and will kill everyone in the way. Since Michael let the cameras capture his face, agents will be in the club soon. Kamal has no choice but to help. Moments later, Kamal has the paperwork ready. The boat will leave in 30 minutes, so they need to hurry. The duo tries to leave the club, but they discover that Manafort's team has arrived. Michael attacks one of the men and quickly defeats him to steal his gun, shooting him in the process. Thanks to the loud music, the crowd doesn't notice anything. Then Michael takes a glass from the bar and breaks it before stabbing another agent multiple times. The next enemy is quickly shot down, and this time a few people notice. Jesse and Michael try to take the bathroom corridor, but another agent finds them there and a shootout ensues. After Michael distracts the enemies, he drags Jesse back to the club, where the agents suddenly surround him and start beating him up. Jesse tries to join the fight and a man brings her down, so Michael shoots the guy to save her. The crowd finally panics and runs away. In the chaos, it's difficult for Michael to move and an agent takes the chance to kidnap Jesse. Michael calls Arthur, who gives him directions by following the kidnapper on the security cameras. As Jesse is thrown in the back of a van, Roberta's soldiers also arrive and block the street. Michael still thinks they're enemies and beats up a few of them to open the way and keep running. When he finds the van, Manafort's agents surround him, so now he has to fight them. Michael brings them down one by one before rushing to reunite with Jesse. At that moment, Workman arrives, so the duo steals a bike to escape. At the pier, Jesse cries because she doesn't want to leave without Michael. Suddenly they hear a gunshot, so Michael tosses Jesse on the boat and watches her leave safely. Afterward, Michael and Workman fire at each other until they run out of ammo. Then they start fighting hand to hand, using a piper and a chain as weapons. Workman manages to get Michael in a chokehold, but Michael brings him down and hits him several times with the chain. For his last blow, he wraps the chain around the pipe and strikes Workman in the head, finally killing him. Sometime later in his mansion, Manafort looks out the window and sees two guards dead on the ground. When he turns around, Michael has entered the room. They argue about the Black Kite project for several minutes until Michael finally shoots Manafort in the head. 3 months later in Spain, Jesse has settled into a new life. Roberta and her team are watching her, expecting Michael to show up someday. Jesse is currently reading at a cafe, But Roberta loses sight of her when someone moves the camera. The waitress brings a bag for Jessie, who finds a chess piece. Michael watches her from the street but leaves before she turns around. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.